Hello everyone, my name is Kring and welcome to Poetry Pauses. You might be wondering why the title of this video mentions something about the first anniversary of Poetry Pauses when I haven't really posted a lot on this channel. And since this is a first, I think it's just right that I introduce myself and introduce this channel to you. Poetry Pauses actually began on Instagram and Substack. My first Instagram post there was posted on June 1, 2023, and the first Substack newsletter was uploaded on June 2, 2023. So it's been a year this June. So happy anniversary, Poetry Pauses. The main goal of Poetry Pauses was really for me to make time for poetry reading and writing in the hustle and bustle of daily life. Because from 2022 to 2023, I found myself really setting aside poetry to give more time to a significant transition in my career. So a little info about me. I work full-time in a publishing company. I edit, I write, I manage book projects and magazine projects, mostly non-fiction, inspirational, and self-help works. But starting 2023, because of that transition in my career, I started to handle a team. So I actually got promoted and I had more responsibilities. And so yes, life has been busier than before. Of course, I love my job. I love what we do. I love our products. I love our books. I'm Catholic and the publishing company is Catholic, so we produce Catholic content. So my work is really aligned to my faith and what I believe as a whole. But in May 2023, I realized that even if life has been busier, I still have to make time for something different. You know, something that also gives me the joy, the happiness, and the rest that I need. And if we're talking about literature, then it's definitely poetry for me. And although it was being set aside many times before, I realized that I still have to make time for it because poetry is still a gift from God. It's a blessing from God. And I have to cherish it and nourish it. Time flies really fast, and so I'd like to thank everyone who supported Poetry Pauses for the past 1 year on Instagram and on Substack. I thank God for the grace to still do all this despite the really jam-packed schedule. So aside from the short anniversary Substack newsletter that I released early this month, I think this vlog could also be a good way to celebrate. You know, this is something new. This is like an extension of the project. Although I have a personal YouTube channel which is Kring and it actually has more leisure videos now. For this YouTube channel, I really want to focus on poetry, books, writing, reading, and everything connected to those things. So for those of you poets and poetry enthusiasts who are more into videos, I hope that you will enjoy the videos that I'll be posting on this channel. So for this video, I'd like to share 3 anniversary milestones for Poetry Pauses. But before I begin, let me first take my vitamins. As of this moment, now that I'm filming this video, I haven't taken my vitamins and I already had my matcha latte in the morning. I'm a big fan of matcha latte, and maybe I'll talk more about that next time. But for now, I have to take my vitamins. So here's my cup. Cold water will let the Berocca tablet dissolve. This is not sponsored, but I really love the good effect of Berocca to me. So if Berocca works for you, then drink it every day. Okay, while waiting for the Berocca tablet to dissolve, so yeah, let me share with you the first milestone for the first anniversary of Poetry Pauses. And I think this first milestone is one of the main reasons why Poetry Pauses exists. So I mentioned earlier that in May 2023, I had a kind of realization that poetry is still something that I have to give time to, and it's because it's a part of me that I need to cherish and nourish. And it was inspired actually by a call for submission. So There's this group on Instagram called A Soft Landing, and last year they posted a call for submission. So they're looking for poems about healing, and they have this goal to create a poetry collection. And by that prompt, I was motivated to just stop what I'm doing and really make time to write poems that would be healing for me. So during that time, I haven't written any new poems then, and I have a poetry collection draft that I haven't worked on yet. And so that time I just really wrote my heart out. I looked at poem drafts on healing that might be suitable for the submission. And but more than wanting to be accepted in that call and be part of the poetry collection, I just really wanted to write at that time. And that moment when I was writing, editing, and completing my entries for that call, that's when it hit me. Poetry is an important part of me, an important part of who I am, and it must not be neglected because it's a gift, it's God's blessing to me, it's also a self-care activity in a way. So no matter how busy I've been, I still have to make time for poetry. And so Poetry Process was born. And then fast forward to February 24, 2024, just this February, 2 of my poems were chosen and included in that call last year. So let me show it to you, it's here. So this is A Quiet Unfolding, A Soft Landing Collections by 8 Filipino poets. So this is the fruit of that call last year, and this is the first milestone that I'd like to share. So being published in this collection, I've been calling this like a special treat from the Lord because I know He knows that I really wanted to make time for poetry. So I guess it's a blessing. It's like a confirmation that He still wants me to continue with poetry even if I'm really busy. So all the names of the poets are on the cover. I really appreciate that. Of course, Don Lanuza, KB Menyado, Leila Tanyutko, Alona Gakutan, Romy Peña Cruz, Dominic Gonzaga Solatra, Lacantola, and yours truly, Crinkleyadan. So yay! Congratulations! What I really love about this project is that my first poem drafts improved a lot during the editing process. So thank you, KB, Don, and Layla. I really appreciate their comments and suggestions on my 2 poems. I'm an editor too, so I know how important it is to listen to the editor. And yes, that includes poetry. Even poetry should be read or should be looked at by an editor. So for all you writers out there, we need editors. Editors are like our guardian angels. So thank you so much. And again, to A Soft Landing, to my fellow poets here, to the artists who did the layout and design for this book, thank you so much. And thank you so much to those who supported this book by getting the digital and print copy. So for more information on this book, if you want to get a copy, I'll place a link in the description box. Let me read to you one of the 2 poems that are published in this collection. And I think this poem that I wrote is like the official poem. If there's a national anthem for a country, this is like the official poem for Poetry Process. So the title of this poem is Pause, Pray, Write. When will these end? Daily chores like waterfalls, taxing tasks like flash floods, backaches like tidal waves, my heart's longings like a surge. I pause so I can breathe and not drown. I pray so I can surrender to the flow. I write so I can float as me for me. Whenever the cycle turns, I fetch these 3 steps in a bucket until the water does not hurt anymore. This is the end of the poem, but not the end of me. Pause, Pray, Write by yours truly, Kring Talyaden, from this collection, A Quiet Unfolding. So, before we go to the second milestone, my Berocca is already ready, so I'm gonna drink it now. The second milestone for the first anniversary of Poetry Pauses is my growing poetry collection library. Of course, these are just few of them. I have lots. I guess more than ever, you know, these past few years have been really the shopping year for me, for the books that I really like to read and want to have, you know, especially poetry collections, especially during the Manila International Book Fair last year. I think a lot of the books in my haul are poetry collections. So somehow when I started Poetry Pauses, it reminded me that, oh, I have a lot of poetry collections in my library, so I have to read them and I shouldn't let them collect dust. So for the past year, since June 2023, I'd like to share with you the poetry collections that I finished reading, or at least I read partially. I'll also be sharing my current read and the latest poetry collection that I bought and included in my library. So I just think I have to create another vlog for the books alone, because of course I wanna share my thoughts on each of the books. But yeah, I'll just run down the titles to you so that this video won't be too long. So start first with, yeah, In the Wake of Our Wreckage, Prose and Poetry by Danny Hernandez. We have Collected Verse, the Birth Centenary Edition. Yeah, poems by national artist Nick Joaquin. For this one, I've read a couple of poems already, but I haven't finished reading, so I hope I find the time to continue and finish reading. Another one, another ongoing read is this one, If I Write You This Poem, Will You Make It Fly by Simeon Dumdum Jr. Yeah, I think this is the marker where I left off last time, so I hope I can also go back and continue and finish reading this one. I finished reading Luna sa Nabubuong Lubos by Paul Alcoceba Castilla. This is a Tagalog collection. This is a Filipino collection, and I read this last year for August, because August is the Buwan ng Wika, or the national language month of our national language. So next one, Young Enough to Play by Angela Gabriel Fabunan. I love the cover also. I love the poems. I love the cover, front cover and back cover. And the art is by another amazing poet, Reggie De Guia. Blue Iris, Poems and Essays by Mary Oliver. And so far, since Poetry Pause started, I just think that for now, my favorite foreign poet is Mary Oliver. I just love her poems. And because I love her, I kept saying Lola Mary. Because yeah, I feel like she's my Lola. Although, yeah, she's not alive anymore. But I love Mary Oliver. I Must Belong Somewhere, Poetry and Prose by Don Lanuza, of course. Don Lanuza, one of my fellow poets in A Quiet Unfolding. Joyful Light, Modern Christian Poetry by Filipino women. This is a collection of poems from different Christian writers, and I love this. Love this because I think over the past year I realized how I'm interested with poems connected to faith, spirituality, religion. That's why I also love Nick Joaquin and Simeon Dumdum Jr. because they have poems like that, you know, inspired by faith and all that. So, and we also have We Might As Well Be Galaxies by Leila Tanyut, of course, another fellow poet in A Quiet Unfolding. And yeah, I also love this one. So far, I love them all. You know, different styles, different themes, but they all spoke to me in many different ways. So I love them all. Again, I'll have another video maybe to talk about more of the books, but for now, that's just a quick rundown. My current read is actually this one, Will You Tell Me What I Look Like? Poems and Paintings by Rafael Atienza Coronel. I'm not yet done reading and I hope that will be done soon. But so far, I find this collection very interesting. It contains not just poems but also paintings and, you know, some more things that are really interesting. I'll talk more about this book soon. Maybe on Instagram also. I'm posting also the books that I've read on Instagram. So please follow me there. Aside from my current read, I said I'll share the latest book that I bought, and that is this one, Moving with Moonrise, High Buns by Maria Milagros Dumdum. Yeah, she's the wife of Simeon Dumdum Jr. So yeah, this is my latest purchase and latest addition to my poetry library. This is somehow like a treat for the first anniversary of Poetry Pauses. So that's the second milestone, my growing poetry collection library. For the third milestone for the first anniversary of Poetry Pauses, it's actually related to faith. Of course, this video will not be complete if I don't talk about my own book. So this is Parts and Personifications, 40 Poems of Letting Go. The poems are by yours truly, Kringtalia. Then art by Danny Hernandez. So yes, Danny is both a book author, a writer, a poet, and also an artist. So yay, Danny did the illustrations for my first poetry collection. So this was launched on December 16, 2020. That's my birthday. So what's the milestone? So of course, having this book is forever a milestone for me. But for the past year, I'm really thankful because my book already made its way to its first library home, and it's in the Pope Benedict XVI Library in the Don Bosco School of Theology in Parañaque City. And that is thanks to Father Martin Macasaet, STB, a priest, professor, and poet. And he also gave a blurb for this collection. So thanks so much, Father. Let me read to you the full blurb that he wrote. So he said, even in these times of tweets and TikTok videos, Kring Talyada's experience in book publishing bears fruit now with her real passion and craft, a collection of her own poems. It's in the specific form of a good old-fashioned book with simple illustrations. But it bears the stamp of her youthful enthusiasm together with profound insight. Picking up mundane objects such as barking dogs, dresses, heartbeats, food, books, shoes, gift tags, almost every page jumps out with the personifications of the title. She soars onto lofty levels of heartfelt imagery. For it's all born out of her deep desire for healing, as evidenced by the From To movement in the subtitles of her book. Because this book is divided into 3 parts. And then she concludes fittingly with an affirmation of God's primacy of love. Kring's poems do far more than just give vent to her emotions. Playing with the number 40, she unites herself with Jesus' desert experience. It's the biblical form for a long period of time, somehow belying her fresh and youthful writing. In the end, we all agree with her that every end has a beginning, every brokenness is a blessing, every hurt leads to healing. Father Martin Macasaet, SDB, priest, professor, and poet. So yes, third milestone would be that my book is already at the Pope Benedict XVI Library at the Don Bosco School of Theology in Parañaque City. If you're a student there, then please visit the library, go get a copy, borrow it. and I hope you can read it. Of course, copies for this book are still available for sale, both in ebook and print. And for more details, please click the links in the description box. So basically, that's it for this first anniversary video of Poetry Pauses. Thank you again so much to all those who have supported Poetry Pauses this past year. Thanks to all the people who were instrumental for those 3 milestones, and even in the little milestones that I have achieved so far. I know Poetry Pauses doesn't have much following yet. There's a few on Instagram and few subscribers on the newsletter, but even if that's the case, I'm really thankful already. And I think that's one last message that I'd like to share with everyone, that if we just keep being grateful for the small and the big blessings, then I think all the more blessings will come, and I really believe that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again on my next video. Bye!